Welcome, this is Professor Tom Wolf, and this is a presentation on creating graphical user interfaces with Java Swing, and this is the first presentation in a series. So Java Swing is been around for a while and replaced a really older, simpler system that was much more complicated for doing anything with the original Java. This came out in what's called Java 2, which was basically 1.01. And now Swing has been around for a while, and it's kind of being replaced with a new Java technology called Java FX. And I don't know a great deal about FX yet. Again, this is just coming online, so really you're going to need to know how to use the Swing and how to read code that's written that uses Swing. I will try to cover some of the Java FX stuff as we go. Okay, let's take a look. So I'm going to go ahead and create a NetBeans project, and this will be a standard Java application. So new project, Java application, hit next. And then I need to find a location for this, and unfortunately it'll take me a second. There we go, CP2 working, excellent. And then that's on my Google Drive. And then I'm just going to call this Hello Swing. That's my project name. Don't need this, get rid of that. Hit finish. And then this first simple program will just have a single Java main class. So I'll go ahead and create that, and we'll call that Hello GUI. And let's spell that in a funny way. There we go. So Hello GUI. Hit finish. So here we go. Going to get rid of my Egyptian braces. Going to go ahead and get rid of this boilerplate that NetBeans puts in, which isn't particularly helpful. I'll save my file. And now, to make this a little easier for you, since we're not going to really be using this too much, I'll go ahead and close this so all we have is the editor window. Okay, so the main object that we use in Swing is called a frame. It's JFrame, actually. And you're going to see an annoying quality to the library. Everything begins with a J because the older system had frame and label and such, and this differentiates them. So I want to create a JFrame. JFrame equals, whoops, got to call it something. So let's see, JFrame frame equals new JFrame. And then what I can pass in will be a string, which is the title of the frame. So we'll call this Hello GUI. And now notice NetBeans is like, hey, wait a second, I don't know what a JFrame is. So Control-Shift-I will insert this. Now, one thing I want to point out here is all the stuff that came in Java 2, which is basically 1.01 and on, is called Java X extended. So Swing was added to Java, so the Swing package is a Java X package. So the JFrame is there, and basically I can go ahead and display the frame and it won't have any content in it. That might be a good thing to do. So let's play around a little bit with just the basics of the frame, and then I'll add some content. Okay, so you're going to see that I can control the size of the frame, and I can specify in pixels the width and the height, or I can let Java do that for me based on the content. So let's go ahead and get some basic things going here and get something we can look at, and then we'll refine it a little bit. So one of the things that I want to do on my frame is to show it, I have to set it to be visible. So frame dot set visible, and then true, and that'll display the frame. Now there's an unfortunate thing here that you have to always do. When it shows the frame, it's going to show something like what I'm looking at here, and it'll have these controls. If I don't set a particular setting, I'm going to show you in a second, the user can close the frame and the GUI will be done, but the program will continue to run. So we have to set the frame to set an on-close method that will close the frame and end the program. So this is going to be frame dot exit on, let's see if I can remember this. Let's see. Oh, set default. That's right. Sorry. Set default close operation is what I'm looking for here. And then this boilerplate code is going to be JFrame dot exit on close. That's what we want it to do. So what that means is that if the user closes the GUI by clicking on the little X, then it'll go ahead and end the program. Recall that exit, system.exit, is how we halt a Java program. Okay, I should be able to actually show this file now. So let's run our file and see what we get. And one problem with this is sometimes the frame will come up behind the IDE. So I can tell down here that it's running. So I'm going to minimize the IDE. And there's actually the frame application. So let's pull this over here. And you can see there's the Hello GUI title that I passed in. I don't have anything in my frame. And this will minimize it. And then I can go down to my line and read and you know sorry max and show it again. I can also maximize it, and then finally I can kill it. And if we go back into NetBeans, you can see that when I killed the frame, it actually went ahead and halted the program. And that's because I put that exit on close. Okay? All right, so by default, the frame will size itself based on the content. And this frame doesn't have any content. But we can also set the frame to have a specific dimension. So frame dot set size. And then this will take either a dimension object, which has an X and a Y, or width and a length, height, or you can use this overloaded version that takes these. So these are going to be in pixels. Let's set our width to be 300 pixels and our height to be 100 pixels. Okay, I'll save that. I'll go ahead and run that again. And then here's the new frame. And notice that it came up with the dimensions that I specified. Again, I can minimize it, maximize it, or close it. When I close it, the program ends, as you can see here in NetBeans. Okay? That's actually a great start to doing our graphical user interface. And so you're going to see that we have a bunch of objects which are called widgets that we use in frame programming. So pretty much every frame program will have what I have here, and then I'll have additional components that I'm going to create and add to the frame. Component is the formal name. There's a Java class called JComponent, and the informal name is a widget. So to continue with our idea of hello world, let's go ahead and add a label. So JLabel equals new JLabel. And again, for this control, if you pass this component, I should say, if you pass the text in, that'll be the text for the label. A label is a display area on the GUI, just like labels in HTML, which the user can't change. So it's not a text field, it's a fixed text that never changes. Okay? So let's make this hello Java Swing GUI. All right? So I've created this, and again, notice that NetBeans doesn't know what a JLabel is, so I have to go ahead, Control-Shift-I, and tell it to add the, let's see, the include library there. Let's see what's going on here. I got an error in here, JLabel. I wonder if it's label, L-E. No, that's wrong. All right, so JLabel. I'm kind of confused here. Let's see, label. Oh, I forgot to give my label a name. How stupid of me. So JLabel label equals new JLabel. Man, I wish I could edit that out of the video. I feel kind of silly. Okay, so JLabel label equals new JLabel. So the name of my JLabel is my label, is label. Okay, now I have to add label to the JFrame. And the way we do this is we simply say frame.add and then label. And it turns out that later on we'll learn how to position things within the frame. And there's all these layout managers and that. But by default, if you add things to the frame, they're just going to go in what's known as flow layout. Here I'm only going to add one component to the label. Okay, let's go ahead and run our program now. It should show the label inside the frame using the size that we specified. So there's the label. Hello Java Swing GUI. Now I'm going to show you an alternative here. Let me end the program by closing the GUI. And I'm going to comment out the set size. And it seems like it'll work without doing this. So I can go ahead and run it now without the size. And it should go ahead and size enough to use the controls. Whoops, I guess I'm wrong about that. So there's that. So it ran here with no size, and I couldn't see it, and I had to resize it. There's also a pack. And so instead of setting the size, I can say frame.pack. And what that will do is that'll size the frame based on the size of the components in it. That should work a little better. Yeah, see, so now you can see that it picked that size. And of course, the frame is resizable by the user, right? So I can, and I can also minimize and maximize it. Okay? All right, so that works pretty well, but I kind of liked it when we had it set to those dimensions. So you're not going to use both of these. If you don't use set size, then you'll go ahead and use pack. Let's adjust this down a little bit so it's a little more reasonable for what I'm doing. So I'll make it 175. And we'll run this one more time. And there we go. So again, 100 across, 75. And then everything can be refined. So this is just a simple introduction to how this works. And we're going to add more to it here. So this is pretty good. I'm about 15 minutes into the video. Let me just quickly review. We use the JavaX Swing JFrame for the main component. We have a bunch of other components that we add to the frame. Later on, you'll see that we have panels, which are grouping containers. So I can put multiple panels in a frame, and then I can add components to the panels. And so in this simple program, I'm just using the frame and the label. When you create the JFrame, you pass the title in. That becomes the title text up here on the title bar. And when you create a label, you can also pass the table in there. You also can set the text on the label or the frame to do that later after you've already created the frame. Okay? And then if I don't use the pack and use the default size, then I can set the dimensions for the frame. One thing I always want to do is I always want to set the default close operation to be this constant, which is exit on close. That causes the program to end when the user closes the interface. Otherwise, the program is still running, and now there's no interface for it, which is kind of weird. Finally, to display the frame, I use the set visible equals true, like we have here. Okay, that's really kind of a good introduction to how to do frames. And I'll come back with some more videos and do more for you here. All right, code on, dude.